Hey guys, so we have Sector 1 of Conquest 22. So this is the Conquest where we are trying to earn the second Inquisitorship, the Sith. And Sector 1, so we're looking at a lot of Jedi feats, a lot of Inquisitor feats again, which I know you don't want to hear. But I want to break down each feat from Sector 1 that I've been working on, discs I'm using for them, and all that kind of fun stuff and teams that are working. Before I hop into it though, I do want to acknowledge two things that I think are important to get off right from the start. So in my last Conquest video, I totally forgot about one of the Inquisitor feats that's in Sector 1, which is wins with Seventh Sister surviving. So there are actually 32 points worth of Inquisitor feats, and you can only skip 34 to get Red Crate. So if you want to skip all of the Inquisitor feats, that means you only have 2 key cards of wiggle room, and you have to basically do every other feat that's on the board. If you can't and you have to skip other feats, then I would suggest double checking the math on what those feats are that you have to skip. So for example, if you have to skip winning with Kenobi surviving, Jedi Master Kenobi, because you don't have him, I would skip that and do Purge instead. But I'll go over that at the end, just kind of what I'm thinking of skipping now for sure, now that we're actually live and in it. So that is that. The other thing I want to acknowledge is that it looks like Amplify Agony is out of this Conquest. So that means if you are relying heavily on Volatile Accelerator and Amplify Agony disc builds, it's not going to work for you this time, okay? Volatile Accelerator still is in Conquest. I do have one on my account and one on Professor X as well. I do find it helpful to cheese some feats that require you to gain turn meter based off debuffs out there, so like a Palpatine type of lead. And I am using it. It's not going to work to the same effect without Amplify Agony, so keep that in mind. I am going after a lot of Zealous Ambition discs instead, because they are making some of these teams hit insanely hard, which you're going to see here. And I'm really excited to show you that. So keep that in mind. I still think a lot of these feats are going to be relatively good to go after and relatively straightforward, and we can double dip on a lot of them, and we'll go over that in a bit. But first, I want to remind everyone what we are looking at for Sector 1. So Sector 1 in particular, you need to gain stealth 40 times. It's going to be pretty straightforward on how to do this. A lot of the teams are going to double dip with it. Defeat 50 enemies with Jedi units. This is a great feat because you need to win 40 battles with a full Jedi team as one of the global feats. So if you have Jedi Master Luke, if you have Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke, if you have Jedi Master Kenobi without Cat on the team, all of that is going to double dip to a global feat, which is fantastic. So you're going to get through those 40 wins really quickly that way. Attempt to inflict Purge 300 times. This is going to be really straightforward. I actually recommend not skipping this feat. It's worth 5 key cards, but it is relatively easy to cheese. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. Even if you have 3-star Gear 8 Inquisitors, you're going to be able to cheese this. So keep that in mind when you're deciding on what you want to skip. And then attempt to inflict torture 50 times. I am going to show you this. It is awful. Pun intended, it is torture. I'm telling you right now, skip this feat. It is not fun. It's worth 5 key cards, and the 5 key cards for it is not worth the hassle. It's 100% on my skip list. Like, if you're planning to skip all of the Inquisitor feats, I would skip all of them except Purge and then skip Torment instead, because it's awful. Awful. Okay, guys, so I want to show you the gameplay. I want to show you what teams I'm using and discs. It's all really straightforward. A lot of the stuff I did really did double dip on other feats as well. So I want to highlight that, and then I'm going to come back and I want to show you at the end, or rather I want to tell you at the end, which feats specifically I am going to be skipping, because I think that is important to acknowledge and keep in mind when you are planning, because it's a huge, huge, huge thing to plan ahead for Conquest to be successful. All right, let's do this. All right, guys, so the first feat I want to show you is actually a global feat. It's not directly related to Sector 1, but it's these 20 battles where you need Farm Boy Luke and Old Ben specifically to survive, and then Princess Leia and any version of Kenobi to survive. So I'm going to show you this twice. One is on my own account and one on Professor X. So this is mine here. We're going to go against this Geo node. I don't have any discs equipped because it's the first battle I chose to do, but I'm going to use Rey. Just to spam Lifeblood to make it a little bit more survivable, because as you'll see here, we've got Old Ben, we've got Princess Leia, they're in relics, but my farm boy Luke is gear 9. So he is in the danger zone. And then I just ended up choosing, eventually, Jedi training Rey. I wasn't too sure which tank I wanted to use. Obviously, I want to win because that counts for the feat, and I didn't want to pull stamina from tanks I would need later on. So I just went with JTR, and it was probably one of the better options. I will say right off the bat, guys, this feat is bugged. It's not working as it's written. You basically only need Old Ben to live. So if your farm boy Luke and your Princess Leia are a little bit weaker, you're going to be in good shape. They can die. You just need Old Ben to survive, and it counts. I have tested this myself personally. I've had it where Luke has died and Farm Boy Luke has died, and it still counts with Old Ben and Princess Leia there. And I've had it with both of them dying and Old Ben there, and it still counts. And I've also had it where only Old Ben dies, believe it or not, and the other two survive, and it does not count. So Old Ben, once again, absolutely needs to survive. So like I said, not using any data discs here, just against the first Geo node that I saw. My plan here was to just kind of keep them all ability blocked and away from Luke because he was the weakest one. Lifeblood here came in really handy, as well as damage immunity, because they're all light side characters. So if they drop below that 50% health, raised damage immunity is going to kick in on them. So it buys you a little bit of time that way. So if you do have Rey, I think it is a good option to use her in particular for this feat. You can also, if you have some Zealous Ambition discs, instead of having JTR in your 5th slot, you could take somebody like Dash or IG-11, anyone like that who's a support, and they're going to hit really hard with Zealous Ambition. So keep that in mind. And I'm just going to go back here so you can see we were at 0 for both, and now we're at 1 for both. So you do get to double dip. And if you don't have Rey, this is the Professor X account. So pretty much the exact same idea. Again, I don't have discs equipped here. We're just going for, just to keep them all ability blocked, keeping Old Ben alive, like I said. The main reason I chose General Kenobi as the 5th here is because you need to get kills with him as one of the global feats. So I wanted to have the option to call him to assist as much as possible and have him get some of those kills, because you do need to get 100 between him and Jedi Master Kenobi. So having him here was the better option. And as you guys can see, Farm Boy Luke's already died, so we're obviously not going to 3-star this node, but the feat is still going to count as long as Old Ben survives, like I mentioned earlier. You'll be good there. So again, really great, because you're actually triple dipping a little bit here with this feat. You're getting, or I guess it would be quadruple dipping. So you're getting the 2 global feats. You're getting the Old Ben with Farm Boy Luke, and then Leia with any version of Ben. You're getting the feat where you need General Kenobi to land the kills, and you're also working towards the stealth feat in Sector 1 because of Princess Leia going into stealth. So that works really nicely. Okay, so let's look at Sector 1 some more specifically. We need to kill 50 units with Jedi characters specifically. So I am going to use this Jedi Master Luke team. I really like to keep Jedi Knight Luke separate so that I have a second Jedi team with Jedi Knight Revan with him. So you don't necessarily have to go with Cam. I like him just because I have him geared and he hits hard, but really any other Jedi is going to work in that slot. And then again, I wanted Kenobi because we're going to double dip into that global feat where we need him to land the kills. So you can see I'm just calling Kenobi to assist. Hermit Yoda is great here, one for survivability with the health equalization, but he also is going to give himself stealth, so you're going to passively work towards that stealth feat as well. And then on top of all of that, because it's a full Jedi team, you're getting the Jedi kills from Sector 1, but you're also going to get a tick towards a full Jedi team of those 40 wins you need in the global feat. So all in all, I think this is one of the better teams to do the Jedi wins / kills / Kenobi kills / stealth, whatever with, because you're just working on so many feats at once. And obviously we want to be as efficient as possible, and they are really survivable. If you can't tell already, guys, Jedi Master Luke is going to get a massive workout in this Conquest. He's going to be lifting so much weight. He's going to be carrying so many teams. I've been using him an absolute ton between my account and Professor X. So if you don't have him, highly, you guys know this, I highly recommend getting him as one of your GLs for Conquest in particular. But he's just going to help phenomenally, even if you do have him, make sure you're using him because he's going to carry a lot of the weight for you. So again, you're going to see this is going to play out pretty quickly here, and we're going to get the win, and then we can go look at another Jedi team based off of how I've split them. All right, so let's just speed this up because we know this is going to end in a win, which is fantastic. Okay, so this is another Jedi team on my own account that I'm using. I like to split them this way so that I do have 2 full Jedi squads. So Jedi Knight Revan with Jedi Knight Luke, plus Bastille Shan and Jolie, and I took General Kenobi as my 5th, just because I didn't want to dip into Old Ben too much because he's going to get a lot of work with those 20 wins, and General Kenobi I feel can take a little bit more of a hit in stamina than Old Ben, so he was just the tank that I wanted to have here. So this is pretty much it. I like this split in particular by keeping Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke together because you get a lot of control. You're able to do the AoE stun with Luke so that you can just control the board entirely. Obviously, Jedi Knight Revan can work around the taunts and get the marked on so you can control there, and you've got the heal. So again, you're getting all of the Jedi kills this way. You're getting the full Jedi team feat from Global, and then if General Kenobi lands any kills, he's obviously going to contribute towards that, which it doesn't look like he will here, but if he did, he would contribute towards those kills that you need for the global feats as well. So good thing to keep in mind when you're splitting your Jedi teams if you're going to try to make 2 of them to speed through that global feat. Okay, so I do want to show you Purge. So you have to inflict it 300 times, and this is going to be pretty cheesable. So the only disc I have on right now, I believe, is a Actually, no, sorry. I don't have any discs on for this one. I will show you another one with a disc. But this one has no discs, so 9th Sister lead, because she's going to have the enemies inflict Purge on themselves, or give them a chance to inflict Purge on themselves. Jedi Master Luke, Watt, and Armorer. I just kind of threw in Armorer. This is on the Professor X account. So it is a weaker 9th Sister and a weaker Armorer. Not that it matters. Everyone can die. You are going to time out, so I've sped this up significantly. Essentially, you just put the tank tech on Luke, and then eventually the Jedi will give themselves Purge. Theoretically, I believe it's a 40% chance. I think this would work better against a General Kenobi-led Jedi team if you have that on your Sector 1 instead of a Yoda-led one. I just didn't love it. I did time out. It wasn't super efficient in terms of how many you were getting in one fight, but you can see they're giving themselves Purge. It has nothing to do with 9th Sister surviving. I think if you wanted to bring a 5th, I would probably bring in another Inquisitor just to throw out some more Purges. But it's overall, it's okay. Like it takes the full 5 minutes. You're going to time out. And they do give Purge to themselves, which is why it's kind of nice here, because once 9th Sister dies, it doesn't matter. They just keep purging themselves, which is really good if you have weaker Inquisitors, because they can die as long as you have a character still alive because of 9th Sister's lead. So keep that in mind if you do want to try it. Okay, and I do just want to show you the total Purge from that one. So it was 39, so it's not awesome, to be honest with you. I think this one worked a lot better. So this was against a Padme team, and this is on my account. So my Inquisitors are a little bit built. They're Relic 5, so they are going to last a little bit longer. 0 out of 300. They also are going to kill the enemies faster, which can be a detriment when you're doing this feat. So I think you'll have better luck with lower geared Inquisitors. But you want Volatile Accelerator because essentially you want to feed yourself turn meter based off of debuffs, because you're going to take Palpatine lead. And you're going to take him with a tank and then 3 Inquisitors. I like to use 2nd, 7th, and 5th personally. I find that that's just been the best combo for me in terms of how this is going to work. So I am going to speed this up because, again, it's going to take a while. Okay, so this is just on 4 times speed, but the idea is you're feeding yourself so much turn meter from the debuffs that your Inquisitors just keep taking turns. The reason why I like having 7th is because she's able to dispel off of Kenobi here once he gets to 6 purges, if she gets to take a turn. And then 5th is really great because he has an AoE purge. And then 7th sister is great because she's assisting and she'll add another stack of purge. Crew is there just because he's a pre-tank or pre-taunting tank. So if the enemies take a turn, he's the one that's going to get hit, and you want your Inquisitors to survive here. You are going to time out on this. Even with lower geared Inquisitors, you will time out. You can see I'm chewing through them pretty quickly. Well, not quickly, but I am chewing through them because my Inquisitors are higher geared. I am keeping Padme alive if possible because her leadership is giving them all of that, or her unique story is giving them all of that protection regeneration. So it's making them harder to kill so I can get more purge that way. Like I said, I think if you have weaker Inquisitors, it's going to work even better for you because you're not going to kill the enemies as quickly, which means you are going to be able to inflict more stacks of purge with all the AoEs, etc. So let's just have a look so you get an idea. So I was at 0 and now I'm at 65. So a tiny bit better. Again, like I said, I think it's going to be a lot better with weaker Inquisitors. Okay. This is it, guys. This is the moment of pain. So I wanted to try Torture. I didn't really have a node that didn't have an AoE, unfortunately, in my Sector 1, just based off what I had picked. So I was going to be, in bad luck or in bad shape in general. So I don't love this. I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to skip this feat, but I'm going to show you it anyway. So I'm going to take Sortie lead just because I actually like her in Conquest. BB-8 for the speed, R2, and then I took Trip. You need Trip 0 if you don't have Grand Inquisitor. He is the only one that is going to be able to do this. It's his special. You can see here, I think it's a 5-turn cooldown if I remember correctly. It's 5 or 6. It's absolutely dreadful. Just skip this, guys. Like, it's such a terrible feat. So BB-8's going to go. He's going to give them all turn meter. And the great thing is BB-8 taunts. The downside is, like I said, I didn't have any nodes without an AoE. If I did, it would have been a lot better because Trip 0 would survive longer and you could maybe get 2. So as you can see there on Bosk got 1. He cleansed it right away, which is kind of good because Trip 0 can only inflict torture if the enemy doesn't already have torture. So if in some crazy world your Trip 0 survives to get to another special where, so if he survives another 4 or 5 turns here, which you can see he doesn't, at least mine doesn't, you can get 2 off in a battle, and maybe you can get 2, but that's still 25 battles to get to 50 if you can get 2. And if you can't, you're doing this 50 times. And you're probably, if your Trip 0 looks like mine, he's going to die off. You're going to lose. I just don't think it's worthwhile, guys. Like, I'm just showing you it just so that you can understand the absolute pain of this feat. Just skip it. It is not worth the 5 points if you don't need to do it. We got one. Like, absolutely no. Just no, just pass. It's not worth it. Okay. So we're on the mini boss, guys. This is good. We're almost done here. So this mini boss, you need to win without any support in your team, and also win with Urrorrorr surviving. You cannot double dip this boss because Urrorrorr is a support, so you don't get to use him on your team and get 2 feats in one. So just know you're going to be doing this boss twice for both feats. So this is the team I went with. They are all not support. They're all attackers or tanks. You don't necessarily have to use Cam. Again, I just like him because he's strong, but any other Jedi will work. I would put Jedi Knight Revan there instead of Cam if you don't have Cam geared up. The thing that sucks here is you want to be quick because they're throwing all these detonators on you and you are going to die. You're going to blow up from these detonators. But you can get through this fairly decently with Jedi Master Luke. I also like this team because, again, you're double dipping on a full Jedi team now for your global feat. You're getting Jedi kills for the Sector 1 feat as well as working on the no support for this boss. And you're getting kills with General Kenobi here because we're just going to keep calling him over and over and over. That is when Jedi Knight Luke doesn't steal them. But as you can see, these detonators just keep exploding. So it is a little bit painful, but it is doable. And I'm going to show you how to do, or how I chose to do Urrorrorr afterwards. But at least this gets you through without any support on your team, and you're able to also double dip on those other feats as well, because if we can get as many through there as possible together, then you're better off in the long run not having to go back and farm feats, and you can focus on anything else that you want to focus on. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for Urrorrorr. You can see he's gear 11. I have a volatile accelerator disc equipped, and that is it. I wanted to see if this would work without Amplify Agony, and it is a little bit hairy, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Dash is great here for the AoE. This is exactly why I wanted to bring Dash, was the AoE, because I want to get through these Jawas as quickly as possible. It was a little bit scary, but it does somehow work. The great thing here is because Urrorrorr is gear 11 and he has trash mods on him, he's slow, so his turn meter gain is not really going for him. He's not a scoundrel, so the detonators aren't going to pop off on him as quickly because he's not taking as many turns. So you can see I didn't 3-star it, but I got the feat with Urrorrorr, and that's honestly what matters, is getting that feat, because every ticket counts. And you can see, again, only volatile accelerator equipped for it. So that was that. Okay, let's look at these boss feats. So one of them is to win without any Jedi, Sith, or unaligned Force users in your squad, which is really straightforward. And then the other one is an Inquisitor feat. You need to win with 7 Sisters surviving. And I'm going to show you that one on both my account and Professor X's, but I want to show you the Jedi, Sith, unaligned Force user one first. So again, because we can't really do that volatile accelerator, Amplify Agony, cheese, I wanted to use Clone Troopers with Chewie. I had already used them, so their stamina was at 90%, just to be totally clear here. But it is just that volatile accelerator disc that I've got on, and I think I have a Ruthless offense because I don't have the best selection on my own account, unfortunately. But none of them are Sith, Jedi, or unaligned Force users, so they're able to make their way through this, and you can get the win with them. I did misplay this at the beginning. I should have saved Rex's form up to cleanse all of these debuffs now instead of having wasted it. That probably would have been the better call, and then it would have gone a little bit more smoother, I think. So you're going to see this is not going to be a 3-star. I'm going to speed this up for you. All right, so it's not going to be a 3-star like I was saying, but it is going to get that feat for you, and you're going to have to do this boss twice as well, because 7th Sister, if you're going for that feat, is an unaligned Force user, so you can't double dip as well here. Okay, so pretty straightforward. We did lose 5s because of the sacrifice, and I believe, if I remember correctly, okay, perfect. So we just lost 5, so it wasn't totally awful, but at least we got the feat and it's out of the way, and we're good to go there. Okay, so this is also on my own account. So this is 7th Sister surviving. And I am going to use my Imperial troopers with them. I just wanted to double check the debuff on them just to make sure there wasn't anything crazy. So again, I want to show you this on both my account and on Professor X's, because my account obviously has Relict Inquisitors and his doesn't. So I think it's fair for you guys to see both sides of this. So I am going to go with this trooper team and then 7th Sister. So like I said, she's Relic 5 and my troopers are Relic. My Admiral Piet, just for clarity's sake, I believe is sitting at 368 speed, just to be completely transparent with you guys. I did not swap mods. That's just his natural speed that I have on him. So he gets to go first and mark Dark Trooper here. And then it's pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. I wanted to get rid of 5th Brother because of his AoE, essentially. And then, of course, you get stuck behind 9th Sister, who likes to tank. So that is a little bit of the downside. 7th Sister is annoying because of her assists. So I think maybe I would have gotten rid of her first next time. But either way, I think this is pretty decent for having 7th Sister survive. Normally this would be a no Jedi, no Sith, no unaligned Force users team as well, if 7th Sister wasn't in the 5th spot. So you could use troopers as well for it to get through if you wanted to. But I wanted her to survive, and I wanted to try it with somebody that wasn't BAM in particular. So that is that. And then I want to show you it on the Professor X account, because this is actually hilarious to me how this worked. So Professor X has Volatile Accelerator equipped, and I put a 2nd Zealous Ambition. So you can see we've got a green one and a white one, and that's it. That's what I'm going in with. And I wanted to try the BAM Han Chewy cheese, if you will. Again, no Amplify Agony, so it's not really a cheese in terms of feeding yourself turn meter. What makes this work is Zealous Ambition and Dash in particular, and it is a ton of fun. So you can see here 7th Sister is gear 11, significantly lower than my own account. I wouldn't say she's totally weak, but she will die if they take a turn, especially if they target her. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to shoot 7th Sister first because I don't want her to assist. And then Dash gets his turn, and all of that Zealous Ambition just stacks and wipes the team. I actually laughed out loud when I did this because it was hilarious. Immediately after I cleared this boss node, I picked up another disc, Zealous Ambition. So highly recommend going after those discs, guys. Okay, guys, so those are the teams I'm using across my account and Professor X. I want to highlight the feats that I'm going to skip, particularly on the Professor X account, because it is going to be slightly different from my own. So you've noticed my own account, my Inquisitors are Relic 5, so I'm going to be able to do a lot of these Inquisitor feats that I'm going to probably want to skip with Professor X because they're weaker. So the first one I want to skip is in Sector 1. It's that torture feat that I mentioned earlier. It is god-awful. It's going to take so long. It doesn't stack. Staying alive is awful. I mean, it's very early on. I don't have a lot of data discs yet, so that could potentially be okay later on. But even getting just 2 per battle is awful. Like, you're going to have to do that feat 25 battles over minimum, like that. No, just no, guys. It's not worth it. Skip it. It's 5 points. Absolutely not worth it. The second one I want to skip is the global feat that is 40 wins with a full inquisitorius squad. Normally I would probably cheese this in Sector 1 off of the bounty hunter node, and it might be okay later on when we've got some better discs. But on the Professor account in particular, a lot of those feats, a lot of those Inquisitors are too weak to survive. And without having Amplify Agony there to just kind of melt the team for you, it's not really working. I did try it with 3 Zealous Ambition discs equipped because some of them are support. And it just didn't work. So I'm going to skip that. Second one, I obviously have to skip this on both of our accounts, is to win with Grand Inquisitor surviving. That's worth 4 points. Neither my account or Professor X has Grand Inquisitor unlocked, so it's an automatic can't do, so it's getting skipped. And then the last one I want to skip is getting 50 kills with inquisitorius units. It's worth 5 points in Sector 2. I just don't really feel like cheesing it, to be totally honest with you. If I feel like I have to, it will be a feat that I can pick up at the end and cheese relatively quickly because I won't need to win for it per se. So those are the types of feats that I like to maybe keep towards the end to give myself some wiggle room if I need it. If I don't need it though, I fully intend to skip it. So it's a total of 29 points. It gives me 5 points of wiggle room in terms of nodes that I don't need to clean up or another feat that I want to skip, anything like that. But those are the ones right off the bat that I'm skipping. 100% though, I think everybody should skip Torture. Just don't even bother with it. It is absolutely not worth your time. It's going to be such a headache. So just drop it. Unless you absolutely need it, in which case I'm very sorry if you do, and I really hope you don't. But that's it. I hope this was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow with Sector 2, and basically each day from there, a sector every day. So hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you guys tomorrow.